as I can, but I am quite enthused about the opportunity to tell you about these two people. Tom Fell. When a man decides to become a dentist, he knows he's going to spend a lot of time in small cavities and working in confined spaces. So it's natural that he would like to try to find a place where he could be expansive and reach out. So joining the choir is a good thing to do. He could use his precise skills and different purposes where he can develop abilities in places that are that don't involve people's mouths. Well, joining the choir is helps to deal with some of those things, but not all of them. 15 years ago, Tom Fell joined the Vancouver Welsh Men's Choir, and it was immediately recognized that this was a person whose precision and care of detail would be as much a part of his contribution as his very fine singing voice. In the year 2000, the choir had grown and developed, but had desperately needed to get its structure and forms reorganized in order to bring some of the new things and new ideas and changes into place. Here, Tom Fell became very, very valuable to us. And many of you will not know that the hours were spent in rewriting, redrafting, organizing, planning, thinking through with others how to change the way we work, how to work the way we should, and how to write so other people would know what we're trying to do. Over those years, Tom and others worked on drafting, assessing, imagining, and fixing the details. Very soon after Tom joined the choir, a retreat was held at Manning Park, and in that retreat we all discussed very carefully what we needed to change and how we could be better and how we could be stronger, and we made a number of changes over the next 2 or 3 years, and Tom Fell was central to getting all of that written and tagged, defined, and delivered to us. In fact, 1 year after he joined the choir, he was asked to become the secretary for a 1-year term. He was the secretary until our present secretary took over.
How long was that?
That was 18 years.
I'll be 95 then.
There are 5 living presidents who will tell you that they were enormously helped by Tom Fell's skill, his memory, his history, his understanding of who we are and what we're trying to do. Every one of us relied on Tom, leaning on him for information, helping him find the details, and using them as we could. Just some words: restructuring, rewriting our bylaws, committing the structure to form. Our records were kept, our Constitution was reshaped and rewritten, and the rules and the regulations were written so that all those new members, as well as the older members, would know what we're supposed to do and what we've set out to do as well. Tom has served this choir faithfully, effectively, with a profound determination over 15 years. Even through health changes in his own life, he has given us enormous time, energy, and gifts. So that's why we're asking him to realize we want him to stay around for life, and we want him to be a life member. So we present him. Something just a little bit 20 or 21 years ago, long before we had computers and cell phones, a person joined our choir in order to sing. We'll call him the Tin Man. Very soon after that man was called into service, a director who had a bird's name, Robin, was the leader of the choir. And he asked him to take a 1-year assignment. He was to have the joy of handling all our music, going to sing and be sure that everything that we had to sing would be in our hands and ready for us to rehearse. But like Jack Bean's beanstalk, the job got bigger, because the gods decreed that the choir needed to have multiple copies of the music, and every week some new people needed new music, and some other people would lose their music, and sometimes, maybe often, Robin would change his mind, and the Tin Man would have to climb the tree and get the music down and get it delivered to everybody else. Too frequently the Robin did that. And sometimes didn't bother to tell the Tin Man that it was going to happen. The Tin Man decided that he would join the music committee, get to the root of the problem. So he would know in advance what was going to happen. That might have worked, except after the committee had decided what music they were going to sing and order and get ready, often the director, in this case, the man's name was like Trip. That man would go away and make up his own mind what to do and not bother to tell the Tin Man. So at times, the committee's work was done, but the decision was somewhere else. For all of these 20 years, the Tin Man went to the music committee meeting with all kinds of nice people, but the tree got bigger and bigger, and so did the choir, and there were meetings and concerts and phone calls, and forgetful singers would immediately ask for help. Upcoming events was the answer. So one person had been writing them, but Tim decided, since he was at the center of all that, he might as well just write it himself. So for years, we had a paper called Upcoming Events. It told us where we would be, what we would be doing, what we would be singing, etc., etc. But the Tin Man found that since he was at the center of things, he would send it out. It was monthly, and all of us got it. The unfortunate thing, however, that some of us would lose the paper, and some of us would forget what was on it, and someone would have wrapped something in it and put it in the garbage, and before long we started to call Tim or send him an email and ask him to help us find all of that information again. So Tim began to have to send us emails. Now, that was the beginning of a long episode, as you all know, because Tim has been sending emails to us for years and years now. The Tin Man decided that at least he would be saved by a wonderful new thing, the computer. At least we thought it would be a good thing. The computer promised to make the Tin Man's life easier. He was going to groupinize us all. And by groupinizing us, we would have the opportunity then to relieve the Tin Man of some of his responsibilities. He wouldn't be so busy. He'd have time to sing again. For the past 10 years, the director, who is very quick, gives the Tin Man information, and we all read that, and the Tin Man makes sure we get it, or it gets on the computer. But he's trying to remember that the information is somewhere